Imagine you're chatting with someone. They're smiling, nodding, and saying all the right things. But deep down, your stomach ties itself into a knot. Your intuition is screaming that something is wrong. We are socially conditioned to avoid outright rudeness at all costs. Because of this, interpersonal aversion rarely announces itself, forcing negative feelings underground to maintain a socially acceptable facade. Psychology calls this emotional incongruence. Suppressed negative emotions don't simply vanish. They simmer below the surface and invariably leak out through tiny, nonverbal channels. Your nervous system is evolutionarily wired to detect these hidden threats. While your conscious mind processes the words being spoken, your brain is simultaneously analyzing a massive volume of nonverbal data to verify the speaker's intent. This gut feeling serves as a biological alarm system, detecting the signs of secret dislike before the conscious mind can even articulate the problem. The first cracks in a polite facade appear at the most subconscious level. Before a person even speaks, their body physically reacts to the stress of being near someone they resent. In healthy interactions, we engage in the chameleon effect, the natural, unconscious mirroring of the body language of people we like. Resentment breaks this rhythm, causing the limbic system to actively prepare for departure. This manifests as kinetic discordance. During a conversation, the resentful person's torso will angle away, and their feet will point directly toward the nearest exit. They may even place a coffee cup or a bag between you to create a physical barrier. If the body is trapped, the face betrays the tension. An authentic Duchenne smile engages the eye muscles, creating visible crow's feet. In contrast, a forced social smile only uses the mouth, leaving the eyes completely flat and unchanged. Eye contact also breaks its natural, soft rhythm. You'll notice an in and out pattern where the person scans past you to address others in a group, or they may lock on with a stare that feels more like a threat assessment than a connection. A person can easily rehearse their words to sound pleasant, but their torso, even their feet, and their eyes will betray the biological desire to escape your presence. When physical escape is impossible, people build invisible walls through their verbal habits. You might notice a sudden warmth drop. For example, a colleague might be highly animated and lively with others, but their voice settles into a flat, neutral tone the exact moment you enter the interaction. To minimize their emotional investment, resentful individuals keep every exchange strictly surface level. They provide the edited version of events and ask zero follow-up questions, ensuring the conversation ends as quickly as possible. Eventually, the mounting resentment leaks out as masked hostility. This usually takes the form of passive aggression, where insults are thinly veiled as backhanded compliments or biting sarcasm. If challenged, the person will instantly deploy the "I'm just joking" defense. This provides them with plausible deniability, allowing them to deliver targeted insults while appearing to be the one keeping things light. At this stage, the individual weaponizes language to safely deliver hostility while shielding their reputation behind a polite facade. The final stage of secret dislike moves past subconscious leaks and into calculated social actions that require conscious effort. This involves selective ostracism. A person may act perfectly fine in a group to avoid suspicion, while actively avoiding any one-on-one time and making you the very last person they acknowledge in a room. With motivated forgetting, a resentful person conveniently forgets major life events you've shared, retaining a flawless memory of your mistakes. This selective memory stems from an Edel threat response. Sharing a success triggers a defensive reaction, resulting in a flat, dismissive response to your good news. This can lead to a public-private split in behavior. They might offer smooth praise in front of others, only to follow it up with private undercutting or gossip once you've left the room. When a person consistently minimizes your achievements while documenting your failures, they are managing an internal ego threat. These patterns often indicate that their animosity is a defensive reaction to their own unresolved insecurities. Before acting on these signs, it is crucial to establish a diagnostic baseline. Jumping to conclusions based on a single awkward interaction can damage perfectly healthy relationships. The primary false positive for secret dislike is social anxiety. While an anxious person may avoid eye contact or provide short answers due to a global fear of judgment, true secret dislike is targeted, cold, and transactional. The rule of psychological diagnosis is consistency. A missed greeting or a forced smile on a Tuesday is just a bad day. Secret animosity only reveals itself through a persistent, long-term pattern of these behaviors. If the pattern confirms they dislike you, the natural instinct to try harder to win their approval is a trap. Pleading for validation from a resentful person will only drain your emotional energy. Instead, practice politeness without pursuit. Match their transactional energy. Stop seeking their approval and confidently walk away to reinvest that energy into people whose words and body language warmly align.